we've got the Eagles and the Cowboys. What an interesting game this was. The Eagles started up 21-0 in the first 20 minutes and then proceeded to slowly blow that lead. I've had to talk about Philly once every 2 to 3 weeks because they're the defending Super Bowl champs. So, of course, they naturally are going to get a lot of airtime here. But it's just, I don't know what else there is to say. Eagles' run game is broken. I posted that a month ago. That is still accurate. They had 10 carries for 22 yards. And not to mention Saquon fumbled. The run game is dead. The offensive line is just not blocking the same way it used to, which is weird because Saquon is still a hell of a running back, even if he has taken even a minor step back, which I think I'd argue is taking a bit more. But even a step back for Saquon is still a really good freaking running back. And then their Eagles offensive line, which is, again, taking a step back, but that still is a very good offensive line. You still have, I know Cam Jurgens, I think he was coming back from injury for this game. So Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, you still have Jordan Mailata. I know Lane Johnson's out with injury. That offensive line is still very good. And for them to just get to seem like lost is beyond me in the run game. And of course, in the pass game, they're phenomenal. Like Jalen Hurts has so much time, but when it comes time to just run the ball, it's a freaking mess. And this issue of them not just like committing to the run game at some point earlier in the year, just to try and fix it, work out the kinks. But it's starting to cost them because now they're actually getting into really important games. Like this game was for just clinching the division. They could have won their division by late November, which is unheard of. Like not again, technically not mathematically win it, but whatever. For all intents and purposes, they would have won their division had they just won this game today or on Sunday. A freaking mess by them. Jalen Hurts, I said that he played one of his better games, which is accurate, but again, it is the Cowboys defense, and it is frustrating that he could have 100%. He had the ball so many times in that game with a chance to get some points on the board, and for him to come up empty over and over and over again was so frustrating. There was a lot of reports coming out earlier in the week about how some of the members of the Eagles front office and coaching staff or whatever were frustrated with Jalen Hurts just being so conservative, checking the ball down a lot. Because if you look, his touchdown-interception ratio is crazy. Because he doesn't really take many shots. Like, he either has the deep ball, like, left side or right side to either A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith when they have a step on him, or he just checks it down. He doesn't ever push the middle of the field. He doesn't push anything from 5 to 20 yards, which is so weird. It's either just huck it deep or check down over and over and over again, which, you know, defenses have gotten more and more accustomed to, and even the Cowboys got more accustomed to it throughout the game, and that's why they were able to shut it down. I don't know how much of it to blame on Jalen Hurts. I don't know how much to blame on Patullo. All I know is that there is a lot of blame there, and someone needs to get at least some part of it. Again, Patullo, fucking... I am so annoyed. I feel like I can make a rant on Patullo every week, and every week I'm proven right. How they didn't fire him 5 weeks into the year is beyond me. When it was clear that something was wrong. Nick Sirianni and his hires at coordinators, I was having a conversation with my brother about this. So when he hires in-house, it's been a mess. You take it back 2 years ago. They hired Sean Desai as their DC, who was in-house, and that was horrible. He got fired by week 14. And they hired instead Matt Patricia to come in, which just made things worse. And their OC was bad that year. So then next year, Nick Sirianni goes outside of the building. I don't even know who handled the hires. It could have been Howie. God knows. And then it's Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. Again, out-of-house hires, and they're phenomenal. Kellen Moore with this offense was great. Vic Fangio with how much talent was on the defense was amazing. Right? And then we come back next year, and Sirianni again goes in-house with the offensive coordinator, and it's a freaking mess again. So when people give a ton of credit to Nick Sirianni, right, and then, you know, I will counter back and say he has some of the best coordinators in the league, or he did last year with Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, and they say, well, he hired them. Well, then I can go back and say, well, look at who he's hired in-house. Who is he promoted? Because he's actively hurting this team with some of these promotions. There is no reason for Kevin Patullo to be an offensive coordinator right now. He is awful. God-awful. When I tell you, I think a middle schooler could run that offense, could call it a better offense. I kind of believe it. Like, it's not even just a joke anymore. It's not a bit. It's that bad. Because it's just the same vanilla shit over and over and over again. I hate it so much. And again, that doesn't mean Kevin Patullo is 100% the reason for this. And it doesn't mean that if you fire him, their offense is perfect again. No. There's definitely a lot of blame to be assigned here. But I think a large portion of it needs to go to Patullo, and I think a portion of it needs to go to Jalen Hurts. Even if, again, he had a very good statistical game this game, it was just frustrating to watch. As for their defense, like they held up for a while there. They took a lot of blows. Of course, they were able to do enough to get their team up 21-0. But after that, they allowed the Cowboys to come back in the game, which is frustrating. But the Cowboys got the ball on the Eagles' side inside the 10, and they held them to 0 freaking points. Not only that, the Eagles' offense, again, after crapping out and doing nothing, they got the ball back to Dallas with 5 minutes left, and they shut them out again. And they gave the ball back to the Eagles again, who again did nothing. So even if, like, yes, the defense allowing them back in the game is pretty brutal, they did more than enough to win. They made so many clutch stops. And, of course, at the end, they were going to fall apart. Just how many chances Dallas had at it, it was inevitable. And all they needed was a field goal when you have freaking Brandon Aubrey. Yeah, they were going to fall apart. So I don't think this is much of an indictment on the Eagles' defense, even though it is uncharacteristic because the last few weeks they've been freaking amazing. They allowed the Packers to 10 points, the Lions to 9. So I think seeing some misstep is a little weird here, especially because how good they've been after trading for Joe and Phillips. But when the other team's offense gets so many freaking chances at it, it's inevitable the dam is going to break. Especially with the way Vic Fangio calls coverages, it will break at some point. So on the Dallas side of it, because I could come on here and rant about the Eagles for 10 minutes a week, every week, and it's not going to change anything, and it's still going to be the exact same, and it will bite them in the postseason, unless Kevin Patullo magically grows a brain. So for Dallas, I just have, okay, we see you. That Dallas defense post-trade deadline. Quinton Williams, of course, has been an amazing ad. He's been awesome. I feel like every year people forget the value of interior defensive line threats because, of course, Chris Jones has been the anchor of the Chiefs dynasty on the defense side of the ball, and he's come up clutch so many times. Aaron Donald, of course, one of the greatest defensive players of all time, and what he did on the interior was so hard to guard. But yeah, interior pass rush, man, it's huge. And when you have a guy like Quinn who can pretty consistently get it, man, it just makes things so much easier. And it's so hard to scheme up on the offensive side of the ball. If it's like a generational edge rusher, you can throw a tackle, you can chip at him. But when it's a guy in the interior, you got to double him and pray. There's not much else you can do. Anyways, besides that, getting Demarion Overshown back from injury, I'm shocked, by the way, he came back this fast. He had a really, really nasty injury. So seeing him not only come back, but be a positive right away is so cool. He's such a fun player. If you've ever heard of him, Google some of his highlights, either in Texas or on Dallas. He's been so much fun. But not only that, they had another corner. I want to say it's Siobhan Ravel off of injury. And, their whole team's gotten better. The way this Dallas defense has played past the trade deadline, it's been like impressive just because, again, all they needed was mediocre. I said the same thing when I was talking about Dallas at the beginning of the year. I said the same thing when I was talking about Houston at the beginning of the year. If Houston's offense can become mediocre, they're going to be a really good football team. If Dallas's defense can become mediocre, they're going to be a really good football team. And again, what do you see? Dallas's defense allows 21 points. More than enough to win the game because of how talented that offense is. Even when you're playing against that insanely talented Philadelphia Eagles defense, it's enough to win the game. So I'm so excited to see this team play against Kansas City. On the offensive side of the ball, man, George Pickens is so good. He is going to be on the thumbnail of this podcast. He's so awesome. I love watching George Pickens just to go do his thing. He seems like such a perfect fit in Dallas. I don't think they're going to be able to extend him because, of course, they're already paying CeeDee Lamb a ton of money. But Pickens in Dallas is such a fun fit. Dak Prescott played a great game, even though he did have that early interception, which was not great. CeeDee Lamb, by the way, something's wrong with him when he plays Philly. Either he has Eagles money line in every game or he makes some sort of handshake deal because that man has no hands against Philly. And he definitely going to cost them the game if the Eagles offense can give them so many chances. Like, yikes, that was bad. I don't know what the hell what gets into CD during these games. He's very much been relegated to the receiver 2 for this core, which is insane, by the way. That's a testament to how well Pickens is playing. One quick thing I want to shout out before I move on here. Seeing that Cowboys special teamer, I can't remember his name. I'm so sorry about that. But he got shoved, battered, bruised, punched, everything on that one play where he's the gunner. That poor guy got hit maybe 5 times and got up every single time. And what does he do? He keeps running and he freaking hit sticks the punt returner and forces the fumble. That was so awesome. I watched the play and I was like, that's the embodiment of football. I love that. I love that shit so much.